doesn't look very now, does it? In fact, it's extremely old. It's 200 years old, and it's 10 times more expensive than any other oak of its size. And to find out why, I've come to John Barnard's furniture showroom. So let's go inside and find out. Hi, John. Pleased to meet you.
Hello,
Shake
Paul.
your hand. Right, OK, why is this section of oak 10 times more expensive than any other piece its size?
Because that piece of oak came from Nelson's flagship at the Battle of Trafalgar.
Wow, that is unbelievable. There is such a sense of history in these boxes, in these little offcuts.
Yep.
Well, we know the Victory's down in Portsmouth, in dry dock. So what are you doing with bits of the Victory here in Norfolk?
These were taken out as part of the lightening of the boat, but also as part of the continuous replacements which have gone on throughout the life of the boat, especially when Nelson was actually in it and knocking 7 bells out of it.
These trees were fully mature before they were felled, so they're still 200 years. So we're looking at 400-year-old oak.
Yep. They reckon something like 80 acres of oak forest were cut down to build one ship. That's why we have no oak forest left.
Well, it's quite fitting that it's all here in Norfolk, really, because there is a sense of connection.
Oh,
Nelson
yes.
was a Norfolk lad, wasn't he?
Oh, yes.
And he was proud to be a Norfolk lad.
He was born and bred 30 miles from this shop.
OK, so we've got all the offcuts here. What are you going to do with it?
We are slicing it up into fairly thin pieces and using them as a patchwork in our tabletops and on our Victory chairs, which I can show you if you like to walk this way.
Oh, wow. I can see what you've been working on.
This is it.
Isn't that stunning? It looks like a patchwork quilt.
Well, that was the only thing we could think to do with it.
And it looks in 3D as well until you touch it. These are just sort of thin strips of the oak laid down. And what have you done?
We made a resin bed, fitted them all in, waited for the resin to set, put a final layer over the top, and when that had set, we sanded it off flat.
And smoothed it flat.
An almost flat surface.
Yeah, and you've polished it well. It's come up beautifully.
Yep.
It is like a parquet floor, really, but sort of more
but
of
more
a collage.
interesting.
More interesting, yes, yeah. A few butt joints. Obviously, you've made it fit in places.
We have, yes. We've kept, as far as possible...
A few bolt holes.
Yep, bolt holes like that. We have kept the white paint, the lime wash from the inside, which I do wonder if it was put on partly for health reasons.
Probably.
And Paul, note this, blood. This is where Nelson died. Honest.
It's honest. I like the curling grain here. I like this. This is from the knee section, isn't it?
Yep.
I love it to bits. Do you know, I can see cannon here. I can see the legs as turned gun barrels.
Yep. The inspiration for the ends was actually the bell housing on the boat, which was one of the loveliest pieces on it.
This is a nice detail. I like the wedge.
Well, I was trying to get that fighting boat feeling into the structure.
Lots of cleats everywhere, things like that.
So lots of bronze, lots of wedges, lots of pins. Everything held by
pegs,
because I don't think screw threads had been invented in 1775.
No. It was all pegs and dowels driven in. So, OK, the inspiration, I can see where it's come from. So what did you do? Take a trip down to Portsmouth to see the Victory?
Yep. I went down with the 3 blokes who bought the timber.
It's awesome, isn't it?
To be in there and feel this 200-year-old structure where thousands of men had died to create the empire was
quite haunting. Yeah. Did you have any working drawings for this? Did you sort of scale it down and thought, right?
I did, yes. They called me in to design it, and it took 3 months to come up with the original design, which is not this.
No.
I went through a process of...
Oh, wow.
You see where that's coming from?
I can see where that's coming from. Not very practical to dine at. Could you imagine sort of looking at a gorgeous woman through all this rope work? Thinking,
no.
Hello.
Hence,
I like it, though.
Yeah, well, I liked it. One day I'd like to build it. I kept fiddling about, and suddenly I thought, this is what we need. We need the boat with the planks taken off.
Yeah.
That came up 15 minutes before I went to see them and present everything.
Gosh. Nothing like a deadline then, is there?
So he said, well, draw that up then. So I did. We finally went to this design of table, which was the original table from the centre of the ship structure. Yeah. And then I took the ribs off, and that was the scale drawing of one of the ribs, which we blew up to 7 feet high in order to make the back of the chair.
Look at that. The price of this entire dining suite, what would it cost?
This one is a slightly special one and costs about £9,500.
Just for the table?
Just for the table, yep. The chairs are just over £6,000 each. You've got 8 chairs, then you're talking of something like 45 to 48,000 for the chairs, which is about the same as the original boat cost.
which is what the Victory cost.
Indeed.
200 years ago. That's what they call recycling there. You must have been so excited to get this commission.
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. Yeah. The most famous man in English history, with the possible exception of Winston Churchill, and I've been asked to design the furniture to celebrate the bicentenary. I couldn't believe it.
That's one commission, isn't it?
Yep.
What's going to happen next year for you, do you know?
I'm sure you'll think of something.
John, thank you very much for showing us around.
That's a pleasure, Paul.